Good morning, everyone. Now, today we are going to discuss about a topic that is nothing but your air compressors, right? Now, already just we have discussed all the 4 units of topic. Okay, topics what I have discussed. Then the last unit will be a air compressor. Now, what is a basically a compressor? So, a compressor is a device. I'm just showing here. So, a device which takes a definite quantity of fluid. It may be a gas. It may be often most often it will be like a air. So if you see that definition itself, the fluid which is going to get admitted is a compressible fluid, which is called as gas or air. Okay. Then first I want to tell you what is the basic difference between a compressor and pump. Now both are used to increase the pressure. Now, what is basically a compressor is it will be handling a fluid which is called as compressible fluids. The compressible fluids are one which are like a gas, air, are called as compressible fluids, and the pump is one which is using the incompressible fluid. Incompressible fluid is nothing but your water. Incompressible fluid is nothing but like water or any other fluid which are called as incompressible fluids. So whenever if I am using the incompressible fluid to increase its pressure, it is called as pump. And when I am using a compressible fluid like a gas, air, etc., then that is called as compressor. Right? So the name indicates straight away it is compressing. What it compresses? So it takes certain quantity of fluid, assume it's air, then that assume that that particular air is taken from the atmospheric pressure, atmospheric pressure, that air is taken from the atmospheric pressure. Then obviously you are going to deliver it to at higher pressures, at higher pressure. That is 1 atmosphere you are taking the air, then you are going to compress it, you are going to compress it. Okay, then obviously one. So So you are going to compress it to the higher pressures. Now, this particular second point here, which actually shows you what are the operations the air compressor will perform. So first, it will take atmospheric air, then it compresses it and delivers to the storage vessel. Normally, the storage vessel is called as a reservoir. Reservoir. Now, compression actually requires work to be done on the gas. Now, if you take an engine, so that actually delivers work or power for us, but for a compressor, it actually requires some sort of prime mover. That is, it must require either a motor, or it must require an engine. Okay, so compressor doesn't runs on its own, it has to start, then only it will take the fluid from the atmosphere, then it starts compressing it and compresses to the higher pressure. So that's the basic function of your air compressor. Okay, so then I'll go to the next slide. Now just this particular slide shows you what is the basic classification of your compressor. Now if you just see in the diagram or a slide here. So the broad classification of air compressors will be like a reciprocating compressor and rotary compressors. The purpose of a compressor remains same, that is to increase the pressure from low pressure to high pressure. So then you have reciprocating compressor, which tells us that there is like your engine, it looks like. So there is a reciprocating action of the piston, which actually uses to compress the liquid or a fluid from low pressure to the higher pressure. And rotary compressor, there is a rotary action available to increase the pressure. Okay. Now you see the reciprocating compressor may be divided into two parts based on the number of stages of compression. It's called as a single stage compressor as multi-stage compressor. Now one more classification is the number of sides of piston in operation. So that is a single acting and double acting. So based on the how it's going to compress. So there is a single acting compressor, there is a double acting compressor. I think already I have covered in the class regarding this. And stages, single stage, whether you are going to achieve, assume that I am going to compress from 1 bar pressure. So normally pressure will be like a bar. So 1 bar pressure to you are going to a 10 bar if you assume. If you just take that compression in only one stage, it's called a single stage. And if it carry down in 2 or 3 stages, it's called as multi-stage. Okay, so that's basically a reciprocating compressors. Now, rotary compressors, you have different arrangements. So most of the times, the reciprocating compressors will be used, okay, for very heavy applications or high applications or higher pressures. Then if you want to use a rotary compressor, most of the time the rotary compressor will be used for very low pressure applications, right? So that's why you see here, you have a rotary compressor, and this particular compressor, what I am showing by highlighting here, it's called as vane compressor. And the second one, so it's nothing but your centrifugal compressor. So we'll discuss in detail about these compressors later. Okay. The time being, you understand, and what we have in our syllabus. So we have reciprocating compressors in detail, both single stage as well as multi-stage, and we have problems based on single stage compression as well as multi-stage compression. Now we need to study about the various operations or various rotary compressors available, like vane compressor, centrifugal compressor, you have axial compressor, you have screw compressor, different types. I'll tell you afterwards. Then obviously that will be like your second part of study in your air compressors. Okay, so this is about your classification. Now, if I go for applications, just 1 minute, I'll just show you. Now, see what exactly it's shown here. So these are the major applications where the air compressors will be used. First one, obviously, this is for filling the air in the tubes. In automobile service station to clean the vehicles, you might have seen the service stations using the water cleaning or water wash. So that obviously uses compressed air. Then you have spray painting in paint industries. So obviously the paint in the cars, if you want to paint, so obviously they'll take a spray painting. Then in vehicle to operate air brakes, so you must have seen something called as air brake or pneumatic brakes, which tells that I'll be using something called as air brake for operating or to stop the vehicle. Then what you are going to use here for cleaning of workshop machines. So obviously the smaller parts you can easily clean with a brush or thing, but the machines available in industries are very, very big size. So what happened? So you'll be using a compressed air to clean the machines. And obviously for supercharging of an IC engines, now you have turbocharging or supercharging where it requires extra fluid. Obviously, if you take a turbocharger diesel engine, so where it requires extra amount of air, right? So that particular time, I'll be using a compressed air for its operation. That's for IC engines application. And obviously, you have seen one more last application that for operation of pneumatic tools. Suppose you have, I assume that you are going to drill a bore for water. Obviously, that particular arrangement you will be using a compressed air. So that's called as drills and vibrators and many more applications where you are going to use your compressed air. Okay, so these are the applications. Then we'll go for our next topic, that is now basically the first part we are going to discuss now, that is what is a reciprocating compressor and how it works. It operation, it's similar to your IC engine. It's similar to your IC engine where you have something called as a cylinder, cylinder. You can see here a cylinder, a piston, obviously a connecting rod, and this is your crank. This is your crank. So whatever the thing happening here, this particular arrangement will compresses the air from low pressure to high pressure. So obviously, the same thing is mentioned here. This is called as a single acting because you are compressing the fluid on one side of the piston. So that's why it's called as a single acting. Suppose you have the piston like you have compression on both the sides and crank will be at the center in this part. Then one movement will be compressing other side, another movement will be this side. So if that is called as a double acting. Okay. So now this particular compressor, what I'm showing is a single acting compressor. So the piston will be driven by a crankshaft via connecting rod. So first I have to give power. That's why this particular crankshaft is connected to a prime mover. The prime mover, as I said, it may be an engine, it may be a motor. Then that particular motor or engine will convert the motor is a device which converts your electrical energy into mechanical energy that will rotate the crank, and the crank will just move this piston to and fro. Okay, so that's how it will happen. Now what happens first, you see this the blue color what you are seeing here, this is shows the fluid, it may be air or gas. So obviously it's a air if you assume, that's why it's called as air compressor. Now this is the air which is going to admit, and the thing which is going to going as a orange color here what you have shown, it's a compressed air or air which is at higher pressure, air which is at higher pressure. Now what is the basic operation, you just see uh, simple operation, that is there are only two operation. It doesn't like your four stroke engine or two stroke engine, you have four operations, but here it's only two operations. First you will be admitting the air, that's called the suction stroke. So it will take the air, so piston moves from the top most center to the top dead center to the bottom dead center. So it sucks the air, and at that time the inlet valve is open here. Then once it compresses, that is the piston goes from top dead center to the bottom dead center. So obviously what happens, it actually takes complete air to this particular volume of the cylinder. Then after that the inlet valve will be closed. Now you find that both the valves are closed, the air is here inside the cylinder. Now the crank is keep on rotating. The piston moves up now, compressing the air here, and obviously the air which is being compressed will be delivered in this way, because when it starts piston starts moving up, the outlet valve is opening. So that particular air after compression goes here, and that compressed air may be stored in a reservoir, may be stored in a reservoir. Okay, so that's how the basic principle of operation of your reciprocating compressor. The same thing I have shown here with the different stages. Now suction stroke maybe happens in three types, three here. So this is the suction stroke. This is called as a delivery or compression stroke. Delivery stroke or compression stroke. Okay. Now we'll go for next slide. Now this is very important because our first model of a problem, is based upon the this particular. So there is this is a particular thing which actually gives you the problem point of view. This is very important. So it's not very tough here. This you can easily understand what exactly it's happening. Okay. So let me just explain this particular thing. Then we'll see how it's going to happen. Okay. Now what exactly this diagram shows you? This gives you what is the equation for work. So what is equation for work? That means I am going to produce, I'm giving work to get the compression from low pressure to the high pressure. So that's why this particular diagram plays a very, very important role. Now you see, I have just taken this on pressure versus volume coordinates. So the x-axis is a volume, and the y-axis will be like a pressure. Now see here, first I'll start from here. Now 4 to 1 is basically the first process, that is suction. then just follow the blue line. First follow the blue line. Then I'll tell you what is this two lines which are in two colors. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail about this. It's a very, very important part because based upon the operation, your because here why I have to worry about the work here means assume that you are getting work, you don't have to worry about much about that. But here what happens? I have to I have to give I have to give work to that because I am spending electrical energy for motor, and motor in turn rotating your compressor, rotating your compressor. So I have to see that I try to minimize the amount of work. The energy what I am going to supply for the compressor. So just follow the blue line first. It takes the P1. What may be P1? It takes the air from the atmosphere. So 4 to 1 is called as suction process, suction stroke, and it's being compressed. It's being compressed. So I highlighted, I have shown here, just follow this blue line. So 1 to 2 is the compression process, and obviously 2 to 3 is the delivery or final process or delivery stroke. Now, what happens in this particular application operation here? The pressure of air or the air which is taken from the atmosphere is being compressed to a high pressure and stored at P2, where P2 is called as delivery pressure. So P1 is suction pressure, P2 is delivery pressure. Okay. Now the same thing the operations mentioned here below. Now 4 to 1. So there is some sort of a volume. Assume that P1 is the initial pressure and it takes the volume V1 and air is taken into the cylinder. So the pressure of the air is P1 and the temperature of the air which is entering the compressor is T1. Okay. Now what is 1 to 2? As I explained, air is compressed. Now the compression may happen. So you know there are different thermodynamic processes by which the compression may takes place. Now just see the blue line. The blue line shows you in general that operation is a polytropic process. Hope you have already studied about these processes in your thermodynamics. That is isothermal process, adiabatic process, polytropic process. Now you see here the equations are shown with by means of which I can see the PV power of n equal to constant. That's the basic equation of work whenever it is a polytropic process where n is called as polytropic index. Then you have adiabatic process where it is like a PV power of gamma equal to constant, where gamma is called as your adiabatic index. Now PV equal to constant, that is isothermal process. Isothermal process. Okay, so the same thing, the compression may happen here in three types of processes. So 1 to 2 is polytropic process. Then 1 to 2 dash is obviously the isothermal process. Isothermal process. Now isothermal process. Now you have 1 to 2 double dash, which is called as your adiabatic process. Okay. Now just see how I can find out how much work I have supplied or work taken by the compressor. It is given by the area under this pressure volume diagram. Area under this pressure volume diagram. Now 1 to 2, 1 to 2 double dash, it's general. Now just see what is the complete area under the curve. So this is actually the operation, that is 4 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Now whatever the area under this diagram will gives you the work. Now you just see which area is less here. Now just check first 4, 1, 2 double dash 3, then 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2 dash 3. Now which process will give you a less work taken by the compressor, or I can supply only very less work for the required amount of compression. Obviously, the process is the isothermal process. So whenever if the process is isothermal process, the work to be given to the compressor is always less. Okay. So that's the about your PV diagram here. Now straight away I'll show you how I can got the work done equation in the next slide. Okay, so just see after this what is happening. Now the same thing I have mentioned in the writing here. N is a polytropic index, gamma is adiabatic index. So work done is nothing but area under the PV curve. PV curve, a pressure volume curve. So adiabatic compression will have to give maximum work. In general, polytropic compression will be there, and which requires minimum work. Yes, that this is the very important thing. So this, if it happens, then obviously you have to give only minimum work to get a compression from low pressure to the high pressure. So 1 to 10 bar is same, but it may be adiabatic process, it may be a polytropic process, it may be a isothermal process for you. Okay, so this is how the work done. Now I'll be just giving you the equation, right? Now one more thing I'll just give you 1 minute. So we'll go for next slide. Now just to go for this, I'll take another 5 minutes. I'll just explain these things. Okay. Now, what is the these particular slides shows you, right? So, compared to all types of work, obviously the isothermal work will be taking a less energy. So, I have to learn a term called as isothermal efficiency, which actually shows you how much is the isothermal work and what is the actual work. So isothermal work by actual work. Okay. So I'll tell you what are this isothermal work and what is actual work, all those things. And if you go for more actual work, what is happening? That's a practically, if it's equal to isothermal work, obviously my efficiency of the compressor is 100%, which actually not possible. Okay. So let me just finish this session here because we have only under 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then, so that's what is the thing here. Just see here the diagram again, same diagram I have drawn again. Now, actual work is given by area of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So normally actual operation will be like, as I said, it will be like a polytropic process because n may vary from 1.2, 1.3, etc. Okay. So in general, the operation is like a blue color, which is a polytropic process. What is the area under the curve? 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the basically the work actually I can get. Now you see how I got this equation, right? Now, what is work actual I'm getting here? Work actual I'm getting here. Now see, I'll be first, what is area 4, 1 minus area 1, 2 minus area 2, 3? What is area 4, 1? You see, from 4 to 1, what is the area? That is P1 into V1. So the area under this 4, 1 process is 4, 1 process, the P1 rectangle, I think. So P1 into V1, okay, minus. Now, what is area under 1, 2? Now you see 1 to 2 here, it is the process. Now it's like your, this is basically the 1, 2, 1 to 2. And what is the area? This is the area below that. So that is given by the formula. So P2, V2 is the outlet parameters minus P1, V1 by N minus 1 minus what is the area under 2, 3, another one more rectangle, that is P2 into V2, P2 into V2. Now, if have this 4 to 1 total area, if you take away this particular area here, if you take away the so this is total area 4 to 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 to 1 is P1 into V1 minus, if you take away the area of under 2, 3, then this is the basically I'll be getting a work. because the process of compression is 1 to 2. So I have to more worry about this particular area. Okay, so that is your actual work. Now the same thing I mentioned here. Now I just keep on rearranging this. So I send this P1 V1 minus P2 V2 minus P2 V2 minus P1 V1 by n minus 1. So this I have sent to other side. Now you see here, I just keep on arranging. Instead of minus P1 V1, P1 V1 is kept in the front. So that minus P1 V1, the minus of minus becomes plus here. So it becomes P1 V1 minus P2 V2 by n minus 1. Okay. So now you see, finally, what is the thing? A same arrangement, whatever they have shown the thing, I just keep on changing this. Now n by n minus 1, P1 minus P2 V2. So again, I have taken P1 V1 common here. Now 1 minus P2 V2 by P1 V1. Now this is the equation, first equation if I get. Now what happens, we know from the polytropic process, P1 V1 to power of n is equals to P2 V2 to power of n. So this already everybody knows about what is this particular. Is there any problem? You can't able to hear? Okay, so I'll just see because there is some problem with the internet. Okay. Now you can see here using P1 V1 power of n to the P2 V2 power of n. Now what happened? I'll just taken this V2 by V1 this side, P1 by P2 whole power of 1 by n. Now because of this, finally I'll be getting here. So n by n minus 1 P1 V1, 1 minus P2 by P1 already available here. Instead of V2 by V1, I substituted as P1 by P2 whole to the power of 1 by n, which I have got here from the thermodynamic process. Now we come to the end of the equation, that is keep on changing the arrangements here. Now finally I'll be getting the final equation for a single stage compression which undergoes the some sort of a process, that is polytropic process. Now this particular thing what I am showing or showing by highlighter here, that is n by n minus 1 mRT1 into 1 minus P2 by P1 whole to power of n minus 1 by n. Just you remember this equation. Now you will always get this equation as a negative. Why? Because I am giving work. Work is actually done on the gas or on the air. So that's why most of the times it will be like a negative. Right? So the work done is given by this particular equation, n by n minus 1 mRT1, 1 minus P2 P1 whole to power of n minus 1 by n, n minus 1 by n. Now you just remember one more equation. This is basically from your polytropic process, that is T2 equal to T1 into T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 whole to power of n minus 1 by n. This is also I have taken from the thermodynamic processes, that is P1 V1 power of n equal to P2 V2 power of n. Like that, there is T2 by T1 equal to P2 P1 whole power of n minus 1 by n. Okay, so time being for this class, you just remember, okay, what exactly the equation of work done. Whenever there is a polytropic process, that is this particular equation, that is what I have shown here. Now just remember this equation. So this is the basically the final equation whenever you have single stage compression happens. Okay, so time being, what I'll do, I'll just take another 5 minutes. Okay, I'll just stop here. Then all of you just join once again. Okay, after 5 minutes. Right? So because like 5 minutes, then I'll just all of you join here, so that what happens after discussing all this particular single stage work. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. Just okay, just we'll do one thing. Otherwise, I'll stop here. Right now, already I have sent this PDF for you. all of you refer this PDF, and if you just join maybe after another 5 minutes, then we'll discuss one problem so that I can finish this session. Okay, thank you.